up, everybody? This is your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva, and I am here to talk about HBO's Big Little Lies. We are in Season 2, Episode 5. Kill me! Just kill me, kill me, kill me! Baby, when Bonnie's mama said, just kill me, all of us on Twitter was like, what? Say what now? What she wants to do? But we're just jumping right into it. Y'all know I usually try to reenact something critical, but this episode was something else. Mary Louise is a hot-ass mess, and she's shady as fuck, and I like her because she messed up. Her and Renata should be besties, but I don't think that's going to happen after Renata had tried to have tea with this incorrigible woman. Okay, so if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and the notification so you'll know when Miss Sophia the Diva drops a video. I do all things reality as well as scripted TV, which is probably why you stopped by here, because I'm doing a scripted TV review. Reality TV is not for everyone, darling. But anyways, last week when we left off, Renata gave the final bon voyage party for her dearly beloved only child, her daughter Amabella. And a lot of things happened. Bonnie's mom had a stroke after this party. And yeah. And we found out that Mary Louise is a sneaking, conniving, slimeball snake. She's a gutter snipe. She decided to file for custody of her grandchildren from Celeste because she, quote unquote, feels they are unsafe. But when we open up this episode, Ed is out on a bike ride and Nathan is out on a jog. They both share a wife. Nathan's ex-wife, Ed's current wife, Madeline. Yeah, he decides to confront Ed about what happened at the party because they got into fisticuffs at the party, which Renata had to break up. And he apologizes to Ed. Now, I told Nathan, I was like, dude, Ed is on the bike. He is a little bit unhinged. She's out of fucks to give. He's questioning whether he's man enough since Madeline cheated on him with the theater TV. And now you keep interviewing and trying to be like, hey, let's be all kumbaya. Ed says something that I think a lot of us need to come to terms with. And I know that there are some people out there. And I can understand how you feel that way. I've been there. Ed told him, first of all, I don't believe your apology. I don't think that you're sorry. And number two, I don't know why you keep trying to be my friend and trying to be buddy-buddy with me. He says, why can't we all just comfortably exist? And that's a good question, because why can't we all just comfortably exist? And why can't we just, if we are truly adults, then we would know how to handle one another. Even if you don't like an individual, but you have to work with this person, there are ways to work with them and not against them, okay? A lot of times I've seen management, if they feel threatened, I've never understood that, but there's a way for us to go along, to get along, and a lot of people need to master the art of that. Mary Louise, this guardianship thing is going for it. Celeste has an attorney who is taking the silent yet possibly deadly. She's going to strike like a damn cobra. I believe it. But Celeste, I forgot Celeste was an attorney. Who remembers that Celeste was an attorney? I forgot all about that. Anyway, Mary Louise decides to pitch herself as this sweet, I don't want to cause no harm, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But I'm like, the judge can see through that, because if you don't want to truly ruffle any feathers, why the hell are we all here in family court and you trying to get custody of your grandson? First of all, I'd be like, age is a factor in this, okay? And she says, I'm not an evil mother-in-law. I'm really a good person. I just want what's best for the boys. I was just like, whatever. After they get out of this hearing with the judge in her chambers, Celeste is like up in arms, like, you didn't say anything. You just let her. She was like, trust me, the judge is going to see all through that performance. And I'm like, exactly. Mary Louise is putting on the show. And she wants empathy. She wants people to sympathize with her. And, the judge, I don't think she's going to go for that. So I'm just like, Celeste, let your attorney handle it. Well, throughout this episode, you can tell that Celeste is concerned and worried about what her attorney is doing. She talks to Renata about it. Renata is like, well, I'm going to sit down and talk to Mary Louise. And Celeste tells her, please don't do it. She was like, well, we all know that attorneys will fuck up some stuff. I mean, you're an attorney, I was like, The only reason you feel that way is because Gordon and you are now going through a bankruptcy. So yes, some attorneys do fuck up. Some attorneys are sleazeballs, for lack of a better term. I found out one of my classmates from years ago did some shady ass shit. Now he disbarred and paid facing jail time. You can't be padding your own nest with your client's actual money. You just take your percentage and move on. Trust account, put a trust account up. And I think that with Renata intervening, it would only make matters worse. Renata, as a matter of fact, is coming unhinged anyways, because her assistant comes to her and says, now, don't shoot the messenger, but you're not going to be in the Women's Empowerment magazine article. They're not going to run it. And she got very upset. She was like, I'm just the messenger. She said that due to the bankruptcy, it's about women on top. And I was like, oh, girl. Basically, the editor is saying, you ain't on top, girl. You at the bottom right now. But you going to come back so you can be a comeback story. And then, Renata, you can be like, yeah, I was down and out, but then I left my husband, and I got my shit back and got my shit together. And now, I'm a superstar. Yes. But I ain't going to lie, I did kind of relish in the fact that her face got cracked. Because she's so difficult. Like, you saw how mean she has been to the principal and to the teacher. I'm like, you know how to demoralize people. But you know what? Now that we're talking about it, I realize now, based upon what we now know about Renata, when she told that bankruptcy trustee, because I've been dealing with men like you my whole life, that kind of gave me some insight on why she rolls so hard on men. I'm willing to bet if the teacher was a female, or if the principal was a female, she wouldn't act that way towards them. Because if you notice her interaction with Mary Louise, she really didn't bite back. I mean, pay attention. She didn't. So despite Celeste's objections, Renata invites Mary Louise to her empty house with no furniture in it. Who is this fabulous person in this big-ass house with no furniture? How dreadful. So she invited Mary Louise over for tea, and they sat down and Renata starts the conversation, and that's when Mary Louise kind of realizes, oh dear, this is not about just tea, is it? Why is it that people can't just simply sit around and comfortably enjoy each other's company? I was like, funny you should say that, Mary Louise, because you are being disruptive of your grandchildren's lives right now because you couldn't be comfortable in letting them stay with their mama. Because you are right to suspect that something happened to Perry at the hands of Celeste. Or Celeste knows something and just ain't saying it. But it's not your right to take those boys away from their mother. She loves them. And so right when Renata is trying to get with Mary Louise goes for the dagger and says, she was like, oh yeah, we're going through bankruptcy, but we're almost through that. And she was like, huh. And so basically she questions, if y'all hear that scratching, that's my Shih Tzu. She, for some reason, she likes to scratch the hell out of her bed and then gets in it. It's like she's settling it. So basically, she questions Renata's abilities as a parent, saying all those long hours and you're separated from your children. I was like, Renata, you better check yourself, girl. She might try to take Amabella too. And so she kind of karate chopped Renata in the throat with her words, because if you notice, Renata really didn't have any comebacks for her. And I was like, I told you, Celeste told you, don't try to talk to Mary Louise because she's not reasonable or rational. Meanwhile, poor Ziggy. Now, some little boy comes up to Ziggy on the playground and starts telling him that I heard your mom is pretty hot. I heard your dad is a rapist. And Ziggy was like sitting there like, Ziggy's a very calm child. Like, he's very much like his mother. But he also has a violent side like his father. And so Ziggy was like, well, take it back. Next thing you know, the twins, Max and Josh, roll up. And they were like, what are you doing? They were like, who are you? They was like, that's our brother. And so they were like, well, whatever it is you said, you need to take it back. Because I guess, I think, who was it that told? I think Chloe and Sky know about Max and Josh. Little kids don't know any better unless they've been damn near beat to death and told don't ever repeat anything outside the house. Let me tell you, I got a butt whooping for a lifetime where I didn't repeat anything outside the house for a long time until I was an adult. But I bet that little boy learned a lesson about keeping his mouth shut and not starting shit. They beat the dog shit out his ass. All three of them. They beat him up, and next thing you know, Celeste and Jane are in front of the principal. He's like, all we know, the little boy got a busted lip that's being sewn up. I was like, good. You will never utter anything bad about somebody else out of your lip about what you heard next time. And if you come for Max, Josh, or Ziggy, they're going to beat your ass, okay? Sometimes it ain't bullying. Sometimes it's self-defense. And in this case, the little boys were doing self-defense. Okay, the little badasses just like their daddy. One thing I don't like about this show, because these are little kids, I'm like, but I know children do that. I've heard it, and I'll be sitting there like, ooh, ooh. Because let me tell you something. For the most part, in most black households, you won't catch children talking to their mama. You hear these teenagers, like this stuff y'all see on TV, that shit be legit real. Because I've seen some of my friends do it. Like, I remember when I was in elementary, there was a girl who used to talk to her mama any kind of way. Like, I'd be over there and it's like, your mama let you talk to her? Like, fuck you, I want you. I was like, oh, Lord. I mean, okay. Anyways, they told their mama that she was being a bitch, and because she was trying to explain to them about, you know, how wrong it was for them to do what they did, beating their little boy ass. Later on in the episode, we see that Celeste has to leave the boys, and she explains to them that your grandmother wants custody, and she wants you to live with her, and the little boys are like, no. And she tells them, well, when the time comes, you need to let the judge know that you want to stay with your mother, okay? That's what you want. They do have a meeting with her and between Mary Louise and Celeste, and the attorneys. Joint custody is proposed. Celeste is like, hell no. And I was like, oh, hell no. We are not doing just joint custody. Mary Louise honestly needs to be psychologically tested too, because in some respects, I feel like she might fall on the spectrum. Like, she has a little bit of Asperger's. I'm just saying. Later on, there's a meeting of the Monterey Five down to the beach. Renata says it best, because Celeste shares with the group that they are all on the list to be called as witnesses. And Renata said that's all they need to open up the door. It's a perjury hearing. That's what it is. But we got to make sure we stick to our story, because she says, well, what do you know about what happened to Perry? And then that's how they're going to open up the door, and we can all get perjured. And meanwhile, Bonnie, I looked at her in particular, and she's standing over there looking like, I'm just going to go confess. I was like, girl, shut the hell up. Ziggy expresses his like of Corey, and he asked his mom, do you like Corey? She was like, yeah, I like Corey. And he says, oh, good, I like Corey too. And she was like, well, that's good. And he was like, well, do you think I will grow up to be like him? And he was talking about his father. I said, this is a lot for children to handle. Like, little children should be running around telling other children, you know, your dad a rapist. I mean, oh my God, just awful. Just awful, I tell you. I do like the beach day that they all had together and spending time together. And Corey seemed to be worked very well with him. Maybe he could be a surrogate big brother for them all. I'm just saying, because the boys really seem to have a good time with him. Ed went on this retreat. If y'all remember last week, Madeline had asked Ed would he please go on a retreat with her, and he was like, he really didn't say yes or no, but he did. And then they were doing this sing-along. I don't remember the song. I just know it was awful. And I'm like, why is she doing a call and response? The song is not a call and response. Either you know the lyrics, oh, you make me feel like a natural woman. It'd be like, you make me feel. And then she, you make me feel. And then Ed is like, oh, dear God. And the retreat turned out to be corny as hell, and she apologized to him. But it seemed like they shared a moment. She vowed never to cheat on him. If she ever made a mistake again, it wouldn't be because she had cheated or she fucked up. Because Ed was like, I really can't trust you. You know, I've been made to stay in a marriage where I don't think I can truly trust you. And she was like, you can. Will you please give me a second chance? So, maybe just one more try. I'm so cold inside. George Michael. Renata also has a day with Amabella, and Amabella says, why? Because we're broke. Because she was like, we're going to spend the day together. And Amabella just, why? Because we're broke. And she was like, no, there's more to life than just money. Well, money's always good. And I was like, yes. Amabella is not dumb. She's very intuitive. If the child is having panic attacks about the end of the world and worried about you, she know you upset because you broke ass, okay? So, but I do think that at the very least, Renata is very much at home and very much a mom and a mama bear when it comes to Amabella and her relationship. So I do like the infinity pool time she spent with her daughter. But I want to close out this discussion. I think that pretty much... Oh, Ed. Another thing to note about Ed in this episode is that despite the promises that Madeline has made to him, looks like Ed is going to be cheating in the next room when he goes down to the bar with Rich Cosby. Hey, shout out to Funky Dineva. And he is at the bar hitting up a woman. So we don't know what's going to happen, but it's kind of implied that Ed's probably going to get some get back at Madeline. Jane also tried to have a moment of intimacy with Corey. It didn't end well. It ended in tears. A little kissing, a little hugging. Tried to take it a little bit further. She started crying, and she wondered if she would ever get through that. And Jane keeps kind of telling Celeste, I don't know how you did it with all of this going on. And I was like, she was raped time and time again. He would show up. But it was almost like a little game, dirty little game that they played, like some 50 Shades shit type stuff. So I'm just saying. But to close out this episode and my discussion on it, because it was a lot, but not really. Bonnie, we kind of all figured it out. Bonnie's mother was very abusive. Her father confronts her and tells her that your mom is starting to talk, and she said that she feels like you're drowning. He also said that we really need to get her out of that particular hospital because there's not much more they can do for her, so they're kind of going to have to send her off to rehab. And you can tell that Bonnie kind of has some sort of resentment towards her father. Like, basically, you did nothing to protect me, as it turns out. Because there's a moment when they're at home. He comes to the studio and tells her about the mother talking. But then at home, she's like, he's talking about, you really think I didn't do anything to protect you from the rage. He told me I tried to be a mediator and a peacemaker to keep her from being enraged. So I think that Bonnie's mom kind of was just a little bit out of her element. It was probably abusive. We saw some signs and symbols of it, like her mother often lost control. It's very sad and very telling. How does a father get in the middle of something like that with a woman like Elizabeth, who's obviously some sort of medium or intuitive. But he was saying, but when he mentioned to Bonnie that her mother said that she was drowning, Bonnie got very defensive and was like, I really don't want to talk about it because the father further goes on to say, usually anytime she has these visions or whatever, it usually comes true. At the hospital, Bonnie's visiting with her mother, and Elizabeth straight up wakes up and she kind of just says, kill me. I was like, God damn, really? And in the previews coming up, we see that she's talking to her mother at some point, and she was like, it's time. So I'm like, are you really going to do an assisted suicide of your mother? And why does her mother want her to kill her? Is it because of her being a bad mother? Or is it because she knows that she'll never be the same after this stroke and just would rather die than to be, half of the woman she used to be? I'm curious about that. Next week, we see that Mary Louise and Jane get into a confrontation, and Jane says, hell, we're all on a struggle of some sort. And Mary Louise, like, you struggling? I was like, see, Jane, I told you got to watch Mary Louise because she'll probably try to take Ziggy. Hell, she'll probably try to take the whole second grade class in Monterey at the rate she going because she don't think anyone is a good mother but her. But look how your rapist ass son turned out. I also think that it's looking like Bonnie is going to crack. And you can hear one of the detectives saying that it was just a matter of time before one of y'all crack. And you see at the end of the episode that Bonnie is back at the damn police department again. So I don't know what that's all about. But Bonnie carries the most guilt because she's the one that actually pushed him. But anyways, that's all I've got for this episode. That is all I have for this episode of Big Little Lies, Season 2, Episode 5. Kill me! And those were the words coming out the mouth of Elizabeth in her stroke-ridden hospital bed. But next week, it looks like it's going to be interesting again. And that's all I've got. If you want to see more of me, you can always... Pumpkin, get out of there. You can always join me on Tuesday night on BFAM 109.6. I will drop the link to the radio website so that you can stream our internet radio show on Tuesday nights from 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. But that's all I've got for this episode. Again, thank you all for joining. Thank you all who continue to subscribe and support. I really appreciate it. And for all of us small YouTube people, let's help each other by subscribing to each other and supporting. That would be awesome. I'm at 368 as of today, so I'm very happy. Anyway, that's all I've got. I'm Miss Sophia the Diva. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm tired and it's a little late, but I wanted to get these at least put in the can and then edit them, get them uploaded. But that's all I've got. Stay fabulous, Buttercups.